Hello, everyone. Meteorologist Hutch Johnson joining you with an update on California weather. It's targeted not only by a chance of severe thunderstorm and spring or summer type of weather, but also another winter storm that at elevated terrain is going to bring over a foot of snow. And the National Weather Service has forecasts for upwards of 3 to 4 feet of snow once again in the higher elevations. And there will be a risk of some flooding and flash flooding, roads washed out, another very wet system off the shore. Let's get you updated with the latest. We're going to look at the watches, warnings, and at-risk storms as we head into the late day on this President's Day and into the nighttime hours. Here is a peek at the latest conditions as we take a look at the radar. Now, as we take a look across the southern United States, where you see the greens there is a marginal or level 1 risk of strong to severe storms. So Riverbank, Stockton, California, there is a chance of that. But focused on Sacramento, north towards Folsom and all the way up to Yuba City, we do have a risk for some severe storms. Now, here is Chico as well. You are in the mix. Anywhere in the yellow is a level 2 risk of severe storms. And as we go ahead and highlight what that means, it does mean that there is a risk this evening, mainly through Northern California, for a couple of strong storms to impact the valley. And within those storms, we could see some spin with the storms as well. So we cannot rule out tornadoes. And even though they will not be a sure bet, there's going to be a chance for a few tornadoes in the area indicated. So not only that, there's going to be the risk for some very heavy rainfall and heavy snowfall. As that moist air wraps up and over the elevated terrain, it squeezes out any and all available moisture. So California, a 1-2 punch is certainly on the way for you. Now we're going to load up a look at that radar for you as we take a look at the national picture heading into the evening. And as we do look at this system is really still off the West Coast. Thanks for joining me. And if you are tuning in, my name is Hutch Johnson. I'd love to have you in the comments section. Not only let me know who you are, but where you're watching from. I like to see that as well. Southwestern United States seeing a good chance. Now let's get right to the national radar as we basically tune in to the southwestern part of the United States. We do have some snow in Pocatello, Idaho, and points north of Twin Falls, a little bit of rain showers in central parts of the high desert. Now, as we take a look out here in the Sacramento area from Chico and point south, we have scattered showers of rain right now. All of these little blue icons that you see here not far from Clear Lake and in the Sacramento area are already flood warnings that have taken place. And in the southern part of California, flash flood warnings with some washed out roads from Santa Clarita all the way into the LA area heading into our President's Day. So we do have very wet weather working its way through. And as we take a peek at the big picture of the nation, it's really the only game in town going on right now, but it is a 1-2 punch for neighbors in the southwestern United States. So let's go ahead and take a look at the model track and timing of this particular storm system. And to do that, we're going to take a peek at a convection allowing model and zoom right back into California. We're going to continue to keep this area highlighted here, and we'll show you as we take a look at the risk for storms tonight, the future radar. So let me pop that up here real quickly. I appreciate your patience. Here we go. Now, as we load this up, what I do want to point out is that the chance of showers and storms will be a little bit later as we head into the evening. I'll put that time bar up on the bottom for you so you can go ahead and time these storms out. Look at the snow that takes hold with the system as we work our way through the forecast period. So the best chance of storms, and I'm going to go ahead and kind of rock this back and forth for you so you can see. Starting out in our afternoon today on this President's Day, we'll see a risk of some heavy rain showers and storms through Sacramento. And then as we head into the evening, this batch of moisture works its way up into the elevated terrain outside of Truckee, Reno. And again, those mountainous areas are going to see a chance of some heavy showers. Heading into the overnight hours, we'll see the rain just continue with this particular storm system. So according to this model, the best chance will be this afternoon, in the early afternoon and into the late evening here in the Sacramento area. So as we zoom in down here, here we go. Looking in at this at 4 to 8 o'clock this evening, a chance for some shear in the atmosphere, meaning some spin that could develop a strong storm capable of a tornado. The snow by the way, with this particular system, lasts into parts of Nevada and in the eastern mountains of California as we go through the night and all the way into your Tuesday. And then look at this, another system just off the coast will make landfall and bring yet another chance of some very heavy rain and snow to the mountains of California. We will have a chance for some snow in the northern Rockies, but this really is a West Coast system. Portland and also areas near the Seattle-Tacoma area will also have a chance for some unsettled weather as this storm system spins its way through. So again, we want to remind you that if you live in these areas, make sure you stay weather aware. Review your plans for severe storms. Again, gusty straight line winds will be the #1 risk from these storms. We'll have some that could be capable of hail. And I can't rule out an isolated tornado tonight across the valley in that Sacramento area of Northern California. Now, let's take a look at the satellite view of this puppy because it's still offshore and it's pretty impressive to take a look at this. Let's go ahead and pop that up for you right over here. Now, what you're looking at is this spiraling, spinning area right here. I'll see if I can highlight that for you. Right here is the area of low pressure. And how meteorologists know that we may have a risk for severe weather, the low clouds are moving here from south to north. So we have this south to north flow into central and northern California through the valley. The upper level winds, however, are moving from west to east through this area. So that is what we call a lot of shear as we go up through the atmosphere. There's a turning of the wind direction, which can cause little columns of air to spin a little bit in the atmosphere. So when you have wind above you going this way and wind below you going this way at the surface, you get this little tube of air that's spinning in the atmosphere. Thunderstorms with their updrafts can lift that tube of air down toward the ground, and there can be some spin or enough spin to spin up a tornado. Now, as we take a look at the models here, what we're going to look at now is a look at two different models real quickly. We're going to look at one model rather, and we're going to go ahead and take a peek at what we're expecting with regards to how much rain and how much snow. And we'll go ahead and start with the snowfall forecast first for the mountains and then the severe weather forecast to follow up here shortly. Here's a look at total snowfall with the system as it's loading up, and I'll put this up right now. Here we go. Check this out. As we go through the next 48 hours, the highlighted area here for severe weather, I'm going to, well, we'll go ahead and leave that up. I think I'll turn it down once we get into the severe weather rainfall amounts because that will interfere. But in the mountains outside of the valley, as we head up towards, say, Reno, is where we expect some very significant amounts of snow. So if you look at the time bar right up above my head here, we're talking about overnight and into your Tuesday morning, some very serious snow across the mountains of eastern California. And this spreads up into Nevada and into the Rockies as well. Look at Salt Lake City right behind my chair here. We do have a potential for some very heavy and lofty snow. Now, when we do look at the snowfall potential with this storm system, it's pretty intense. So keep in mind that these modeled amounts of snowfall over the next 24 to 48 hours are very heavy duty, and models can sometimes overblow these, but I do want to point out as we're going by the crosshairs here outside of Truckee on the north side, 2 to 3 feet of snow. The National Weather Service, with their warnings in these areas, also advertising a risk for over 2 feet of snow, up to 4 feet of snow at elevated terrain. So keep that in mind as well as we go through the next period of time here between now and Wednesday, as that snow will continue through the mountain pass. You get up here a little bit farther north and we do see some very lofty totals there. How about outside of Portland, Oregon, as we move up to the north here, in out towards Bend and Eugene, we do see, a few inches of snow reported there, or expected there, I should say. And outside of Utah by the end of day 2, as we head into Wednesday, upwards of 1 to 3 feet of snow in the elevated terrain just off to the east of Salt Lake City as you drive into the northern Rockies of Colorado and the southern Rockies of Wyoming. That is a look at snowfall potential. 1 to 4 feet in the mountains of California. And then as we look into the mountains of the Rockies in Utah in particular, some very heavy snow for your area as well. I appreciate you tuning in. I appreciate your likes on the video. And once again, I'd remind you to please go ahead and take a minute and, go ahead and let me know where you're watching from. Now let's take a look at total precipitation estimates as we take a look at the radar for this storm system here. And what you're going to notice the fact that this is lit up outside of the valley where we're expecting the severe weather. So Sacramento, because you're going to get the water from the storms that are making their way into the elevated terrain running out, there's certainly going to be some risk of localized urban flooding in those areas. But once you get outside towards Richmond and in the northern portions of California near Clear Lake, well, Mission Viejo, we're going to see some very lofty rainfall amounts in these areas potentially. This model is picking up 13 inches of liquid equivalent moisture. So mudslides and problems with travel in these areas will certainly be possible. Get up north of Chico and the rainfall amounts, or liquid equivalent moisture amounts, I should say, because some of this will be snow in the mountains just off to the east of Chico, expecting to be upwards of 5 inches of liquid equivalent precipitation or more. So keep that in mind. Southern California checking in on you. We are certainly expected to see the valley in the southern part of California near Los Angeles picking up significant rainfall as well. So California, you can expect some serious rainfall. Once again, I sure appreciate all of you tuning in and watching. My name is Hutch Johnson. I'm a meteorologist who has been on the air for the past 27 to 28 years talking about weather on television. I've also taught entry-level meteorology to college students for the better part of 20 years. And I love to hear your ideas and concerns as well. If you are in California, pay attention to the weather. Make sure you have on hand an eye on the sky. And if storms are approaching your area, particularly in the Northern Valley and the Sacramento Valley, you have means to get the information you need to stay ahead of the storm. I appreciate you watching. Have a wonderful rest of your President's Day. The rest of the nation, pretty quiet heading through the early